So hello there, and welcome back to another Night of the Movies podcast. I'm Spy Knight, and in these podcasts, I talk all things movie and TV, and whatever I want, whenever I want. And in today's podcast, I am talking about the fact that a new Jurassic World movie is in the works, and it's also meant to be releasing in July of next year. But just before I do that, I want to talk about the thing that you're probably questioning if you are watching this podcast today, and that is why my video quality looks different. And that's simply because the video camera that I usually record all my podcasts on is currently being repaired. It wasn't broken and I was still able to record on it, but it was going a bit faulty over the past couple of weeks. So I took it in to be repaired. I don't know how long it's going to take to be repaired, so I don't know how long my future podcasts are going to look like this, but you know, it's better than nothing. I'm able to record on my phone, which is what I'm recording on today for the podcast, and that's probably how I'm going to record these podcasts over the next couple of weeks, the next month, or however long it takes for my camera to be fixed. So I'm currently recording on my phone. That's why the quality looks like this. The quality isn't the best, but you know, like I said before, it's better than nothing. And that is why this podcast looks like this today. But other than that, this would be a great and fun podcast, as all of my podcasts are, to either watch or listen to. So, let's get into it, shall we? A new Jurassic World movie is in the works, much to no one's surprise, because Jurassic World Dominion, the last Jurassic World film to be released in this franchise, made over $1 billion globally. So much to no one's surprise, a new Jurassic World movie is in the works. And I've got to admit, I'm not excited. I feel bad saying that because the Jurassic franchise is one that means a lot to me. I did lengthy reviews of all of the Jurassic movies on this channel a good couple of years ago now, and the original first Jurassic Park film is one of my all-time favourite movies. It's in my top 5, or maybe actually it's in my top 6, top 6, it's in my top 10. I kind of gave it away which position it's in, but it's in my top 10 favourite movies, and I even love The Lost World Jurassic Park, the first of the Jurassic Park sequels, dearly. I think that movie is phenomenal. And I also really enjoy the first Jurassic World movie. I remember watching that in the cinema thinking, yeah, this is probably the best version of a modern day Jurassic Park. And I know it wasn't a Jurassic Park film, it was a Jurassic World film, but it's just, you know, same differences. This is the best version of a Jurassic Park, the best modern day version of a Jurassic Park film we could have gotten. But I've also had my downs. You know, I've had my ups with the Jurassic franchise, and I've also had my downs with the Jurassic franchise. I'm not a fan of Jurassic Park 3 at all. I hate that movie. I think it's absolutely horrible. And Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I think, is... It's one of those films that the more I watch, the more I dislike. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think it has its moments, you know. I think that there's some interesting sort of, you know, haunted house, dinosaur, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. There's interesting stuff where it's like a dinosaur in a haunted house at one point in that movie that I think is quite entertaining. You also got the addition of Toby Jones in that movie, Rafe Spall as a villain. It has its moments. I'm not saying Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is a complete monstrosity like I think Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World Dominion are. But I remember watching that film for the first time when it came out in the cinema in 2018, being dead excited to see it because I loved the first Jurassic World so much. And I remember coming out of the cinema and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe what movie I just seen. I can't believe how fantastic it was. Then I rewatched it again at the cinema with my friends. And I remember thinking, God, this movie is not nearly as good as I thought it was the first time. I often have that when I go and watch a new movie at the cinema that I've been excited about seeing. I think to myself, you know, sometimes I come out of the cinema going, that was so brilliant. And I feel like I'm telling myself that. half the time that happens, because I was so excited about seeing it. And I think that's what happened with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, because the second time I saw it, like I've already said, I found it very disappointing. And the more times I watch it, the more I watch it, the more I feel let down by that movie. Again, I don't think it's terrible, but it's nowhere near as good as it should be. And then you get on to Jurassic World Dominion, which, honestly, and if I wasn't being honest, what's the point of me doing these videos on this? What's the point of me doing these podcasts? I think Jurassic World Dominion is perhaps my most hated film I've ever seen. Like, I'm not saying it's the worst movie I've ever seen. I've seen worse made movies than Jurassic World Dominion, but from a personal standpoint, I think that Jurassic World Dominion is horrible. And the reason I'm saying it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it might be my most hated movie, is because I had an emotional connection, an emotional attachment. I had an investment in the Jurassic franchise before Jurassic World Dominion. And that film, from the outside, it sounded like it was bringing the franchise together. It sounded like it was bringing the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchises together. We're going to get, obviously Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's characters were returning for the third installment in the Jurassic World franchise. And at the same time, we were going to get, Sam Neill's character, Alan Grant, Laura Dern's character, Ellie Sattler, and Jeff Goldblum's character, Ian Malcolm, return for the third film in the Jurassic World trilogy and the sixth film in the Jurassic franchise. And I was thinking, you're bringing those two franchises together. Now you have me deliriously excited, because we hadn't seen, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill all together in a Jurassic movie. We hadn't seen them together in a movie since the first Jurassic Park film. And seeing them alongside Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard in a Jurassic movie together really had me excited. But I don't even know what that movie was. I've seen Jurassic World Dominion twice. I've seen it twice. I did see it 3 times, actually. I only saw it twice because I don't think I could put myself through a third rewatch of that movie. I've only seen Jurassic World Dominion twice, and I never, ever want to watch it again. It's terrible. I don't know. It's worse than terrible, actually. It's shockingly poor. I don't know what the filmmakers on Jurassic World Dominion's intentions were. I don't understand what they were going for. So much of that film is about locusts. I'm like, what are we doing? And it just goes back to the same idea that the original Jurassic Park had in its second half. It just becomes about a bunch of characters trapped on an island with some dinosaurs all over again. And I'm like, we've done this twice. We've already done this. We already did this in the Jurassic World trilogy with the first Jurassic World movie, and then we're doing it again here. The more I think about Jurassic World Dominion, the more I get frustrated by it. And I feel sad talking about that movie, because it had so much potential. I remember when the trailers for that film came out and they looked like the film I wanted that movie to be. I thought that with the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the second film in the Jurassic World franchise, where you see all the dinosaurs going out into the open, I thought with the end of that movie that the third film was going to be about, okay, dinosaurs are roaming about the earth. How do we stop them, or how do we live with them? But the movie wasn't really about that. I think about 10% of the film was about that. There was a section of the film which I'm pretty sure took place in Morocco, do correct me if I'm wrong, where there's this chase sequence where there are these, kind of velociraptors. They weren't velociraptors, but they were kind of velociraptors chasing Chris Pratt's character, and he was on a motorbike again, like he was in the first Jurassic World movie. And that whole sequence, I thought, was terrific, because it was what I wanted that film to be. But the rest of the film wasn't that. The rest of the film wasn't about how it is to live alongside these dinosaurs in the world now, how we have to cope with these dinosaurs. The rest of the film was, I couldn't even tell you what it was about. It was that bad. And I always remember this. Colin Trevorrow, he directed the first Jurassic World movie, and he directed Jurassic World Dominion. He directed the first and third films in the Jurassic World trilogy. He didn't direct the second, but he was still heavily involved in that movie. And I always remember he did an interview when the second film came out, and he said that I've had this plan for the Jurassic World trilogy, and it's going to all come together with Jurassic World Dominion. I remember coming out of the cinema, and one of my first thoughts were, what the hell was Colin Trevorrow's plan? You know, what the hell was his plan that was meant to bring the Jurassic World trilogy together? I don't understand what it was, you know? And I hear people now, and this is a tangent here, but, you know, it's my channel, so I'm going to do whatever I want. That's a bit arrogant of me, but, you know, there we go. That's the mood I'm feeling today. The amount of people I've heard say, "Oh, Colin Trevorrow should have directed the 9th Star Wars film. He should have directed Rise of Skywalker because he was meant to initially direct it, but he didn't." And the amount of people I've heard say, "Oh yeah, he should have because his ideas, his script was great." Every time I hear somebody say that, I want to scream at them because I'm usually watching them on on my phone screen or on my computer screen. I want to scream at them. Look what he did with the Jurassic World franchise. Look how bad that third film turned out to be. But anyway, you get the point. I think Jurassic World Dominion might be my most hated movie. Might be my least favourite film. That's a better way of putting it, actually, isn't it? Might be my least favourite film I've ever seen. Might be my least favourite film of all time. I'm not saying it's the worst movie of all time, because I have such an emotional attachment to the Jurassic franchise. That film was more of a disappointment than anyone probably truly understands, at least for me. So after Jurassic World Dominion was this gigantic disappointment, I think I even said in my review of that movie, I'm done with the Jurassic World franchise. I'm done with the Jurassic franchise as a whole. When the next movie comes out, because I said there'll be another Jurassic World movie, and lo and behold, I'm correct. You know, I said in my review of Jurassic World Dominion, I remember saying that when the next one comes out, I'm done with this franchise. They've really got to do something special to get me back on board. And now the next movie's in the works. I've got to admit, I'm not saying I'm excited. Not at all. I'm not really looking forward to it, to be honest. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't interested. And here's why. Over the past couple of months, there have been some new and interesting pieces of information about this new Jurassic World movie, which have got me intrigued about what it could be. Because the movie was announced, I think, in May of this year, in May of 2024. And when it was announced, it said, new Jurassic World movie in the works, coming out in July of 2025. And by this point, we hadn't got a director attached to the project. We hadn't got any cast attached to the project. All we heard with that announcement was that David Koepp, who was the screenwriter on the first two Jurassic Park movies, and who's also written many other films here and there, like I think he wrote at least the first of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. He's worked on many, many classic films. He is returning to write the screenplay for this new Jurassic World movie, and that had me interested. That was the first bit of information for me, which made me go, oh, okay, that could be something. You know, you're getting the original screenwriter back. You're ditching the screenwriters you had for the Jurassic World trilogy. Now, for the fourth Jurassic World movie, you're getting, you know, people who were involved in the original two Jurassic Park movies back. Okay, you may have something. And then, not too long after the movie was announced, it was announced that the director on the new Jurassic World movie was going to be, what's his name? He just died to the Fall Guy a couple of months ago now. David Leitch, I just remembered. Before I had to look his name up, I just remember what his name was. David Leitch, who directed The Fall Guy, which came out a couple of months ago now. He also directed films like Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde. I think he co-directed the first John Wick. He's directed many, many films in his time. It was reported that he would be directing the movie. But then, not too long after, it was reported that actually he dropped out of directing because of creative differences or something like that. So already that I was like, okay, the movie's in a bit of trouble, and I don't actually think it's going to release in July of 2025, because usually movies don't. Usually it takes a long time for a movie on this scale, a Jurassic World movie, to be directed. Usually it takes like 2 years. I was thinking, they want to have this film out in a year and they don't even have a director, and the director's just dropped out. I doubt that's going to happen. But I was wrong, because, a couple of weeks after David Leitch dropped out of directing this movie, Gareth Edwards, director on the 2014 Godzilla movie with Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen, and director on Rogue One. And I know there's some dispute on whether he actually directed Rogue One. Personally, I think he should be credited to a degree in Rogue One. I don't think he should take the complete credit, like he does when the credits roll up on Rogue One, because it actually said directed by Gareth Edwards, and there are reports out there that actually Tony Gilroy came in and did a lot of reworking on the final act of that movie. Basically, reshot the finale of Rogue One, but, I think Gareth Edwards did direct Rogue One, or at least direct chunks of Rogue One. I think he should be credited with it. So, yeah, he directed Rogue One, in my opinion. I give him credit for that. And most recently, I think earlier this year, actually, although I might be wrong. But anyway, he directed The Creator, which, starred John David Washington. And I didn't enjoy that movie, in all honesty, but I thought it was beautifully made and had some of the best cinematography I'd seen in a movie over the past couple of years, period. So with him attached as director, thinking, that's an interesting director to choose for a Jurassic movie. Then it was announced that Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow herself, was going to lead this movie. It's a talent that she was going to star in this film. And then Jonathan Bailey, I think that's what the actor's name is. Just give me a sec here. It's Jonathan Bailey, was announced to be starring alongside her. And as well as that, Rupert Friend was going to be in this movie, as well as Mahershala Ali, who I don't think has done a big budget movie for a while, because he's been waiting for his Blade movie to actually start production, which it sounds like it's never going to happen. So instead of waiting for Marvel, he instead went on to another franchise, and he is going to star in this new film, in this new Jurassic World movie. So with that cast, and with Gareth Edwards directing, and with David Koepp writing, I thought there could be something here. I'm not saying I'm excited. I'm not saying I'm excited at all, because I've been fooled by the Jurassic franchise in the past. Jurassic World Dominion. But at the same time, there's potential, And then about a week ago now, I didn't discuss it about a week ago because, well, I'm lazy, but about a week ago now, the title of this new Jurassic World movie was announced, and we got our first couple of images from the new film, which were released out into the public as well. So this is I'm reading this now from Empire Magazine. Jurassic World Rebirth, that's what the new Jurassic World film is going to be called. Title, synopsis, and first images revealed. And this is what Empire Magazine says. The Jurassic franchise refuses to go extinct, you don't say. Mere years after Colin Trevorrow wrapped up his Jurassic World trilogy with the multi-generational cast of Dominion, cinema's finest dino saga is already roaring into new life. Shooting is well underway on the next installment, which we've been cobbling together information on here and there. We know that Gareth Edwards is behind the camera with a cast led by Scarlett Johansson. We know original Jurassic Park screenwriter David Koepp is on scripting duties, and that's about it. Until now, Universal has just lifted the lid on the raptor cage and details about the new film Jurassic World Rebirth officially are running loose, wild and free. So here they got the logo released for Jurassic World Rebirth. Probably have a picture of it floating there or something. Anyway, first up, here's the official synopsis explaining when exactly Rebirth is set, and how Johansson's incoming hero, Zora, comes into play. And they've quoted this, I think, from somebody who's involved in the production of the movie. 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, the planet's ecology has proven largely inhospitable. Can't pronounce a flipping word. Inhospitable. Got there in the end. To dinosaurs. Those remaining exist in isolated, equatorial, I think that's how I pronounce that word, apologies if it's not, environments with climates resembling the one in which they once thrived. The three most colossal creatures within the tropical biosphere hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind. Johanson plays skilled covert operations expert Zora Bennett, contracted to lead a skilled team on a top-secret mission to secure genetic material from the world's three most massive dinosaurs. There's a T-Rex, at least that's going to be one of the most. That's going to be one of the massive dinosaurs. I'm going to guess you once the Spinosaurus, and my prediction for the third one will probably be the Mosasaurus. Anyway, when Zora's operation intersects with a civilian family whose boating expedition was capsized by marauding aquatic dinos, they all find themselves stranded on an island where they come face to face with a sinister, shocking discovery that's been hidden from the world for decades. And that's what the plot synopsis is saying at the moment. That's the synopsis that's been put out there. Now, that may not be what we actually get in the movie, because often when you get a big budget movie, a lot of script changes happen, and the film doesn't actually all come together in the way that the script has perhaps outlined as. So this may not be what we actually get in the movie. But I've got to admit, with that synopsis, I'm not jumping out of my seat with excitement. I really thought after Jurassic World Dominion that they should have just, if they're going to do a fourth Jurassic World movie, they should just do what they should have done with Jurassic World Dominion, and that is have a Jurassic movie set, in the world of Jurassic World with all the dinosaurs roaming about now, and we just follow a family that's trying to live in this world. How do they live when literally velociraptors could be on their doorstep? How do they live when, I don't know, the mosasaurus could be in the swimming pool? Something like that. Obviously that wouldn't be the case, but you get the point I'm making. How do they live in a world with dinosaurs? That's what I thought the fourth Jurassic World movie should have been about. And clearly it's not about that. It's moving on from the events of Jurassic World Dominion, which I think is the best. Get away from anything to do with locusts. Honestly, who thought that was a good idea? I'm surprised Spielberg okayed that, because he would have had to, because even though Spielberg hasn't directed a Jurassic movie since The Lost World Jurassic Park, which came out in 1997, he's still involved with this franchise. He still produces all of the Jurassic movies, so he must have okayed the idea of locusts, which still astounds me and still annoys me. But anyway, they're moving away from locusts with this new movie. Great. They're moving away from the characters we had in the Jurassic World trilogy. I think that's also great. As much as I enjoy Bryce Dallas Howard's work, both on camera and behind camera, her character didn't have anything to her after the first Jurassic World movie. I can't wait to see what she does next. I think she's a wonderful actress and a very interesting director. One director which I think is going to make a name for herself within this decade, within the 2020s. But I don't care about seeing her character in the Jurassic World franchise anymore. Same for Chris Pratt's character. Chris Pratt's character I liked in the first Jurassic World movie. I did not care about post that movie. So moving away from those two characters, absolutely fine with me. Having Scarlett Johansson in the lead, I'll tell you why that intrigues me. Because Scarlett Johansson seems very picky with her projects. Especially after all of her Marvel fame. She doesn't always choose the conventional projects you think she's going to go for. And the fact that she chose this project, the fact that she chose to star in a Jurassic World movie, maybe says something about the quality of the script. So that has me intrigued. But this synopsis does not have me intrigued at all. Because, they're talking about getting this drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind from these dinosaurs. And I'm like, can we not get away from these drugs now? Can we not get away from... I mean, just... Can we not get away from all the drug aspects of these dinosaurs and trying to make human... And they weren't trying to make human dinosaurs, but trying to make their own dinosaurs. We've already done that twice in this franchise. Why is it to do with drugs all over again? I mean, now that I think about it, none of the Jurassic World movies in the past, at least as far as I can remember, have been about drugs, really. But I don't know. It doesn't sound that exciting. Well, they have to go and get a drug from a dinosaur. Okay, but it's and maybe it'll work great on the screen. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe the execution will save it. But right now, I'm not convinced by the idea of this film being about some kind of drug they have to get from a dinosaur. Also, it says in the synopsis here that Zora, the main character by Scarlett Johansson in this new Jurassic World movie, is going to find a family in this film who have been stranded on this island because of a boat accident. Yeah, a boating expedition that was capsized by aquatic dinosaurs. That just sounds like Jurassic Park 3. We've already done this as a family stranded on an island. And it didn't work then. And maybe it'll work now, but I'm not holding out hope. I think they had the best chance they had of doing the family stranded on an island idea in the Jurassic franchise was probably with Joe Johnston in 2001 with Jurassic Park 3, but that didn't happen. It didn't work. It was just a really bad movie, and I don't know why we're kind of repeating, or not kind of repeating, pretty much, fully repeating that idea, that a boating expedition goes wrong and a family's trapped on an island. I'm like, why? Why couldn't it be something different? Like, I don't know, a plane expedition went wrong, or just an expedition out into the wilderness went wrong and they came across some dinosaurs. Just a hunting expedition or something like that. That would be more interesting than a boating expedition, because I'm like, we've done this. Why are we doing it again? And, I may be wrong when the movie comes out. Maybe when the movie comes out, this part of the plot fits perfectly into the film. This whole thing to do with a boating expedition gone wrong. Maybe it is done so well in the movie that maybe it adds a heart to the movie that the movie really needs. But again, I'm not holding out hope. And none of it really excites me that much in terms of the plot. The cast is the biggest thing which has me intrigued, as does Gareth Edwards writing and, David Koepp. Not Gareth Edwards writing, sorry. Gareth Edwards directing and David Koepp writing. But even now, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they just signed up to this movie because they get to be in a Jurassic film. Like Jonathan Bailey. I'm pretty sure he wasn't the first choice for this film. I'm pretty sure it was meant to be Glenn Powell, because Glenn Powell has said recently that he was asked to be in the new Jurassic World movie, but he declined it. He said the movie sounds like it's going to be awesome, but he did decline him having a part in it. So it sounds like Jonathan Bailey's taking that part. I might be wrong there, but, that seems to be the case. And apparently Jonathan Bailey's character, it says here, is taking on the role of a paleontologist named Dr. Henry Loomis. Okay, he's a paleontologist. He's doing the Sam Neill role in this film, but I don't know. That doesn't really excite me too much. Rupert Friend, who just played a villain in Old One, which came out a couple of years ago now. He played the Grand Inquisitor. He is playing Big Pharma representative Martin Krebs. I'm going to guess Rupert Friend turns out to be the villain in this movie, in this new Jurassic World movie, because he is a British actor, and usually the British ones turn out to be the villains, and there's always a villain in the Jurassic movies. In the first film, it's Dennis. In the second film, it's Ludlow. In the third film, who is it in the third film? The third film's that forgettable. I can't remember who the villain is. Anyway, the point I'm making, there's always usually Visit D'Onofrio's the villain in Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdoms, Wave Spall, Dominion. It was that guy who was meant to be a sort of like Elon Musk of the dinosaur universe. You can tell how much I don't really care about Jurassic World Dominion. Anyway, it sounds like Rupert Friend is going to be the villain in this new Jurassic movie. That's kind of cool. I suppose I'm not the biggest fan of Rupert Friend. I haven't seen him loads, but Mahershala Ali is going to be in this film. I like Mahershala Ali, so that's going to be interesting to see. But none of that. I mean, the cast intrigues me, but none of it excites me. None of them have like a cool character name, or none of them have the characters. And again, when the movie comes, maybe there's far more to the characters than I'm reading right now. I'm hoping that's the case, because so far the characters don't sound particularly interesting. But yeah, like I said, the characters don't sound too interesting, so I'm not getting that excited about seeing them. I'm gonna be completely frank. And Gareth Edwards directing, I'm wondering what a Jurassic World movie from him directing is going to look like, because I don't think he is a brilliant director. But I do think he did a very good job with Godzilla. And I do think he did, for what I think he did with Rogue One, I think he did a good job there as well. But I don't think he did a good job with Creator, and I'm hoping this new Jurassic World movie doesn't have the same pace as the Creator, because the Creator dragged. It was so slow to watch, in my opinion. But I like his Godzilla movie, as I already said. And if he creates the same sort of tension in this new Jurassic World movie that he created in his Godzilla film, I'm all for that. But because it's his first film since the Creator, I'm not holding out hope that it's going to. I'm thinking maybe he's gonna follow in the same footsteps he tread whilst making the Creator, and make another slow, big budget movie, which I don't want to see. And David kept writing. That's great. It has me intrigued. That's probably the thing that has me most optimistic about this movie at the moment. But David Koepp also wrote the fourth Indiana Jones movie, and look how that film turned out. Now, that was only one movie he wrote out of a plethora of very, very good movies he also wrote. But if he starts putting aliens in this film like he did with the fourth Indiana Jones movie, and I know it wasn't his idea to put aliens in the fourth Indiana Jones film, but he still incorporated them in a way which I didn't think worked. I think one of the big faults of the fourth Indiana Jones movie, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that title, is in the script, is in the writing, and I hope that maybe David Koepp, because I don't think he's written anything for a while. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's written anything for a while. I'm hoping maybe time away has given him some perspective, and he writes a very good script that doesn't have anything to do with aliens. Because I'm slightly worried that we're going to find out in this next Jurassic World movie, or in a future Jurassic World movie, that somehow aliens are behind it. It would make sense at this point that they go to aliens. That's how silly the Jurassic franchise is becoming. I like the title, Rebirth. It sort of adds this, this sense that this is a reboot, but at the same time, it's still keeping the Jurassic World name in its title, so it's not a total reboot. It's connecting to the events of the last three movies, but it's also saying that this is its own thing. They got the re in the title. Whenever there's a rebirth or a reimagining, I don't think the word reimagining has ever been in a film title, so I don't really know what I'm saying. But usually when you get the word rebirth or something like rebirth in the title of a movie, it gives the impression that there's going to be some sort of reboot, and that's what it sounds like is happening here. So I don't mind the title, and I think it kind of makes sense with what they're going for. This drug that's apparently meant to save humankind or whatever. But, that title's not going to save a film. I think that Jurassic World Dominion sounds like a fantastic movie. So does Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Look how those films turned out. So a title doesn't really do much for me, although I will admit I do like the title. And there were a couple of images released. There was an image of Mahershala Ali looking particularly scared at one point in the dark. He looks like he's maybe facing off or maybe going face to face with a T-Rex or a big dinosaur in that moment. That I must admit, that little image has me, it doesn't have me excited actually, but it's, it's got me a little bit interested. And there's an image of Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey in the grass, looking at supposedly looking at a dinosaur. I'd be shocked if they weren't looking at a dinosaur because they have this sense of wonder on their faces. And even so, an image, it's only an image from a movie. It does not give him much away. I will say about this one image that includes Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey that I'm looking at right now, I will say that the image makes me think of Jurassic Park, or the best of Jurassic Park / Jurassic World. It makes me think of the best of the Jurassic franchise. It doesn't make me... It looks like something you get in a Jurassic movie, is what I'm trying to say. So that image is probably the thing that had me excited the most out of everything I've heard about this movie so far. Just that one image, I'm like, okay, that looks like Jurassic. At least you're getting that right. But I don't know how much this film's going to get right in the end, because it's got to have a sense of wonder in there. It's got to be exciting. It's got to be thrilling. It's actually going to be well written. And it's going to do something that the Jurassic franchise hasn't done in a while, and that's have a really great idea and an emotional thrust that makes you connect to what's going on. And I just don't think this film's going to do that. I think they're rushing the production. Because when did the last movie come out? 2021 or 2022? It was 2022. Now we're only in 2024. It's been 2 years since the last movie, and there haven't been many updates in this film. And I feel like Spielberg, who was a producer on the franchise, and what's his name? Oh, he produced Indiana Jones movies. What's his name? Frank Marshall, that's it. Frank Marshall, he was the pilot in the huge plane, during the plane fight in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Anyway, a little bit of movie trivia there. He's a producer on many, many amazing movies, Frank Marshall is, and he's produced on the Indiana Jones franchise, he's produced on the Jurassic franchise, he's worked with Spielberg for a very long time. He and Spielberg, I've got a feeling that Frank Marshall and Steven Spielberg have been trying to get the Jurassic franchise back on course. And at the same time, although I get what they're trying to do because Jurassic World Dominion was such a failure, I am a bit like, is this the way to do it? Do you want to rush it? Because it feels like they're rushing it. It feels like they only announced this movie a couple of months ago, and now it's coming out within the space of the next 12 months. That doesn't feel right, And at the same time, it's coming out in the same month as the new Superman film, which is going to be directed by James Gunn. It's a start to a completely new DC universe, and it's coming out in the same month as Marvel's the MCU's Fantastic Four, which is going to make a lot of money because it's an MCU movie starring the likes of Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, and so on and so on and so on. It's got a brilliant cast. I have no interest in Fantastic Four, but it's going to make a lot of money. And Jurassic World is coming out the same month as those two movies. And on paper, if someone said that, Jurassic World is going up against Superman and Fantastic Four, who's going to make the most amount of money? I would easily say Jurassic World, but I don't know, If Superman's better, which I think it's going to be, I'm dead excited for Superman. And if the Fantastic Four movie's better, which there's a chance it could be, I don't know if Jurassic World's actually going to make a lot of money. And I'm not going to... Well, it's going to make a lot of money, actually, because it's Jurassic World. That's a silly comment from me. I take that back. It's going to make a lot of money. But I don't know if it's going to be as successful as perhaps, commercially, as perhaps Spielberg and Frank Marshall maybe hope is going to be the case, I don't know if this is going to blow up the box office the way they want it to. Because it's got to be good. That being said, the last two Jurassic World movies weren't good, and they still made over $1 billion each, separately. But I don't know. I think maybe some time away might make people think, actually, I'm a bit sick of the Jurassic World franchise. Will I want to go and watch the next movie? But maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe when this film comes out in 2025, in July 2025, which is not as far away as it seems, I will come out of the cinema and say that was my third favourite Jurassic movie, or my fourth favourite Jurassic movie. after the first Jurassic World film. But I'm not holding out hope. From what I'm hearing at the moment, there's nothing that's going to be that excited. And the more I hear about James Gunn's Superman movie, the more I get excited about it. I'm going to make a video on that film at some point in the next couple of months, probably when the trailer gets released. And the more I hear about other movies coming out within the next year, the more I get excited. But the more I hear about this movie at the moment, the more I'm like, you're intriguing me, but you're not exciting me. And that's not always the best, you know? I want to be so excited going into this movie. And listen, I'm hoping for the best. As I am with every film I watch. Genuinely, I'm hoping for the best with the next Jurassic World movie. And I will watch it in the cinema because I want to see what this film's going to be. I'm very curious about it. They announced all of a sudden, it's coming out all of a sudden as well. It's something that's not really piecing together there. So I'm very curious about what this film turns out to be. But as I've said quite a few times in this podcast today, I would be lying if I said I was excited. I'd be lying if I said I was excited to see the next Jurassic film. And that's unfortunate to say. Because, listen, I've got a big Jurassic World thing there in the background. It's a big Funko Pop display. I've got loads of Jurassic... Look at my t-shirt that I'm wearing today. I'm a big Jurassic Park fan. I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. It's one of my favourite movies of all time. I love The Lost World. And I also really enjoy the first Jurassic World film. So I'm always going to be rooting for this franchise. But I've been burned 3 times in this franchise as well. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot of times, but there's only been 6 Jurassic movies. And usually there are special events every time they come out. At least for me. And because there's a break between each of these movies coming out, even if it's just a 3-year break, I get excited. And I used to get excited anyway. And I start thinking, oh my god, is this going to be the movie which really, does it? It feels like 3 years is enough time for somebody to make a really great movie. But it also feels like they haven't really done that for a long time. Like, I wouldn't even say the first Jurassic World is a great movie. I think it's an enjoyable film, but it's also got some big, big problems, Wouldn't say it's brilliant at all. But hey, as I said before, I'm hoping for the best with Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm going to cover it more on this channel. The more things are released. I'm going to start to do more videos like this, more podcasts like this, where I'm talking a bit more about movie news, particularly on movies I'm excited about seeing. But yeah, that's my thoughts on everything we know about Jurassic World Rebirth so far. So, listen, if you're excited for this movie, please let me know in the comment section below. Maybe you think maybe this is your most anticipated film for 2025. It's not mine. Mine's Superman at the moment. But maybe this is your most anticipated movie for next year. And maybe you think maybe you disagree with everything I've said in this podcast today. But yeah, for me, this movie has got a lot to do to make up for the abomination that was Jurassic World Dominion. And this is the last thing I'll say, just so people understand my stance on Jurassic World Dominion. My final stance on Jurassic World Dominion. You know the way people talk about the Star Wars sequel trilogy? They say they like The Force Awakens quite a lot. And then you hear a lot of people say they're really disappointed by The Last Jedi, and even more disappointed by Rise of Skywalker, and end up not going back to the Star Wars sequel trilogy. I disagree with a lot of people when they say that. I personally actually really enjoy the Star Wars sequel trilogy. But I get where they're coming from when they're saying that as well. And I kind of feel the same way. Actually, I don't kind of feel the same way. I do feel the same way about the Jurassic World trilogy, as many people do about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, And I feel the same way about Jurassic World Dominion as I think a lot of people feel about Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I don't feel that way myself. I actually enjoy Rise of Skywalker for the most part, but I get why a lot of people don't. And yeah, the way people feel about Rise of Skywalker is the way I feel about Jurassic World Dominion. I'm hearing a lot of people being dubious about this new Star Wars movie in the works, titled The Mandalorian and Grogu. Personally, I'm looking forward to it, but I've heard a lot of people dubious about it. A lot of people like, is this really the direction for the first Star Wars movie in 7 years released in cinemas? Is this really what we're doing? But I'm excited, and I've heard people excited about this movie. But I also the same way I understand why people are dubious about the next Star Wars movie, I hope people understand why I'm dubious about the next Jurassic World movie, because we've been burned by this franchise before, but somehow dinosaurs keep wheeling me back in, you know? And listen, hope for the best, as I've said 3 times now, hoping for the best, I said 4 times now, with this movie. With Jurassic World Rebirth. But I'd be lying if I said I was excited. And that's my thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth so far. So that's it for today's podcast. Been going on for quite a while, actually. I didn't expect to record as long as I have been with because I'm recording on my phone, but that's how this podcast has turned out. So if you are excited for Jurassic World Rebirth, please let me know in the comment section below. Or maybe you feel similar to me about this movie at the moment. Whatever your thoughts are on this new Jurassic World movie in the works, set to be releasing in July of next year, please let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching or listening to this podcast. And if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like and subscribe on this podcast. And look forward to many more podcasts coming very, very soon on this channel. As I've already said, thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast, and I suppose this is it. So I will see you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye.